25 DIY garden ideas that turn thrifted finds into patio magic. Hello, dear friend. Welcome back to Earthly Delights, your cozy corner for soulful gardening and homegrown joy. If you've ever found yourself lingering in secondhand shops, gently running your fingers across weathered wood or chipped ceramics, wondering if that forgotten item could bloom again, then you're in the right place. You might be someone who loves tending to your patio plants in the quiet morning light. Or maybe you're just beginning, turning your balcony or backyard into a sanctuary one pot at a time. You value beauty that doesn't demand bending or big budgets. You believe in reusing, in seeing potential where others see junk. And you know deep down that gardening isn't just about flowers. It's about restoring ourselves too. Today, I'll take you through 25 magical DIY garden ideas that breathe new life into thrifted finds. Each one is practical, gentle on the body, and filled with poetic charm. So pour a warm cup of tea, settle into your favorite chair, and don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights for more slow, satisfying inspiration under the open sky. Part 1. Uplifting found objects, where forgotten items grow again, with grace, not effort. Before we dig into the details, let's begin here with the idea that what's old can bloom again. In this part, I'll show you how vintage treasures like dress forms, toolboxes, and picture frames can become the soul of your garden, without bending, digging, or spending more than a few gentle minutes. 1. The Garden Muse, turning a vintage dress form into a living sculpture. Have you ever stumbled upon an old wire dress form in a thrift store, one that once held gowns in a dusty sewing room? Don't pass it by. Don't pass it by. That quiet silhouette can become a garden muse, blooming not with fabric but with life. To begin, line the frame with soft sphagnum moss, just enough to cradle tiny succulent cuttings. Sedum, string of pearls, or burro's tail work beautifully. Their slow, trailing growth mirrors the quiet rhythm of our days. If your form has fabric instead of open wire, wrap it in plastic, then chicken wire, and fill the space with moss before planting. Place her where she can be admired, near a bench or by the garden gate. Everything happens at standing height, so there's no kneeling or strain. And over time, you'll notice something tender. What once shaped fashion now shapes nature. It's more than decor. It's a tribute to transformation. To you, to the grace of growing slowly again. 2. The heirloom herb box, breathing new life into an old toolbox. Tucked away in a shed or garage, there might be a wooden toolbox, faded, creaky, maybe once held by your father or even yourself. Before you toss it, look again. It's not just a box. It's a memory waiting to grow something new. Give it a gentle clean, keeping the wear and scratches. They add character. Drill a few drainage holes, line it with landscape fabric, and fill it with soil or small potted herbs. Chives, rosemary, thyme, simple fragrant plants that ask little but give generously. Place it on a garden bench or table. No bending, no backaches. Add a small label to the front, retired and blooming, or Nana's herb chest. Every time you pluck a sprig for your tea or soup, it'll feel like a quiet nod to the past. This isn't just about gardening. It's about honoring tools that once built things and letting them nurture life in a softer, steadier way. 3. Framed by nature, transforming old picture frames into garden art. Remember those picture frames tucked in closets or buried in boxes? Glass cracked, backing lost, but the frame still holding on? It turns out, they're not done framing beauty just yet. In the garden, a vintage frame becomes a window for the soul. Remove any leftover glass and hang the frame directly on a fence, wall, or even from a tree branch. Let it surround a patch of trailing vines or blooms, turning your live garden into living art. For a creative twist, staple chicken wire to the back and use tiny clothespins to hang air plants, seed packets, or handwritten notes. Or simply let the open frame reveal whatever sits behind it, leaves dancing in the breeze or sunlight filtering through branches. No digging, no lifting, just a shift in perspective. You're not just decorating, you're gently saying, look here. This moment matters. And in that small act, you're giving yourself the gift of presence, framed not by glass, but by gratitude. 4. A book that blooms, turning old novels into succulent planters. You know those old hardcover books too worn to read, spines cracked, pages yellowed, maybe even a little water damaged? Don't throw them out just yet. They still have a story to tell. One written in green instead of ink. Start by cutting out a rectangle in the center of the pages, leaving about an inch border all around. Line the hollow with plastic wrap to protect the paper, then add a bit of cactus soil. Nestle in a small succulent like echeveria, hens and chicks, or burro's tail. Plants that thrive in tight, cozy spaces and need little care. Place your blooming book on a garden shelf, a patio table, or beside your favorite reading chair. You'll smile every time you see it. Proof that even the most forgotten things still have a place, still have purpose. This project is light, compact, and made for hands that want beauty without burden. Just like us, the book may have weathered time, but inside, something fresh is still growing. 5. From shower shelf to herbal wall, reimagining a metal caddy. Once used to hold shampoo bottles and bath time sponges, that old metal shower caddy hiding in your closet is ready for an encore. This time under open skies, filled with the scent of fresh herbs. Give it a quick clean, and if you'd like, spray it in a cheerful garden tone, sage green, sky blue, or soft bronze. Line each basket with landscape fabric or coconut coir to hold the soil. Then plant shallow-rooted herbs like basil, thyme, mint, or oregano. These little green companions grow happily in small spaces and will reward you with fragrance and flavor. Hang the caddy on a fence, porch post, or wall near your seating area. Everything stays at eye level. No stooping, no digging, just a quick snip when you need a dash of mint for your tea or basil for dinner. It's a simple transformation. An object once made for cleaning now helps cultivate something nourishing. Proof that with just a little love, even the most ordinary household item can be reborn into something quietly magical. Part 2. Garden art from daily life, where everyday objects become gentle masterpieces. Not everything that brightens your garden has roots. In this next part, we'll explore how forgotten mirrors, worn bicycle wheels, and wire lampshades can add grace and whimsy without ever touching the soil. These pieces don't just decorate, they tell your story. One quiet glance at a time. 6. Reflections of grace, using old mirrors to expand your garden's soul. That old mirror, maybe a little scratch, too heavy for your hallway, still has something beautiful to reflect. In the garden, it becomes more than decor. It becomes a window into serenity. Choose a mirror with a sturdy wood or metal frame. A bit of weathering adds charm. Mount it on a fence, behind a bench, or along a shaded garden wall. As sunlight shifts, the mirror captures moments you might have missed, fluttering leaves, blooming petals, or even your own peaceful smile as you tend to your plants. The illusion of space it creates is remarkable. It opens up small corners, adds light to shadows, and makes your garden feel twice as full, without planting a single seed. And the best part? No lifting, no kneeling, just a simple gesture of placement. This isn't just about reflection. It's about recognizing the beauty you've already created. A reminder that sometimes, to see more, we only need to look again. 7. Circles of stillness, garden art from old bicycle wheels. There's a kind of poetry in an old bicycle wheel. The way its spokes once spun with freedom. And though it no longer rolls, it can still move your heart, now standing tall as a living sculpture in your garden. Start by gently brushing off dust or rust. No need for perfection. Every mark tells a story. Spray the rim in a soft garden tone if you wish, or leave it raw and weathered. Then stake the wheel into the soil using rebar, a wooden dowel, or even a thick fallen branch. Plant a climber nearby, morning glories, sweet peas, or black-eyed Susan vines. As they grow, they'll wrap around the spokes, turning motion into bloom. You can also weave fairy lights or tie tiny glass jars with tea lights to the center, adding soft glow at dusk. It all happens at eye level. No strain, no tools, just a circle of stillness in the middle of your garden song. A gentle reminder that even when life slows down, beauty keeps growing, just in a different rhythm. 8. Lamps of life, transforming wire lampshades into sculptural plant holders. That bare wire lampshade frame, the one that's lost its fabric and glow, can still light up your garden, not with bulbs, but with blooms. Start by giving the frame a gentle cleaning. A coat of outdoor spray paint, maybe dusty lilac, soft sage, or classic black, can add charm, or you can let the rust and wear tell their story. Turn the frame upside down and place it over a small potted plant in your garden or patio. It becomes an elegant cloche, protecting delicate greens while adding vintage character. Want something bolder? Set the frame right side up in a pot and let a light climber like jasmine or clematis weave its way upward, dressing the shade in nature's fabric. Or hang it from a tree branch or porch hook and tuck tiny air plants or succulents into the wire corners. No bending, no digging, just beauty that unfolds at standing height. The lampshade no longer casts shadows indoors. Now it gently shines in your garden, still elegant, still expressive, just in a softer, greener way. 9. Chandeliers in bloom, turning old light fixtures into hanging garden jewels. Once the centerpiece of candlelit dinners and quiet conversations, an old chandelier doesn't lose its charm just because it's unplugged. In your garden, it can shine in a whole new way, glowing not with bulbs, but with blooms. Begin by removing any remaining wires or bulbs. Clean the frame gently, and if you like, spray it in a weather-loving color. Creamy white, aged bronze, or moss green all blend beautifully with garden hues. Nestle coconut coir or moss into each bulb socket, then fill them with trailing plants like sweet alyssum, lobelia, or tiny succulents. Hang the chandelier from a porch beam, a sturdy tree branch, or a shepherd's hook. As the wind moves through, it'll sway slightly, a graceful dance of greenery and memory. For evening magic, tuck solar lights into the sockets and let it cast a soft, ethereal glow. This project doesn't ask much from your body, just your imagination. And in return, it gives back beauty, movement, and the quiet delight of something reborn. A chandelier once meant for ceilings now belongs to the sky. 10. A suitcase full of seasons, crafting storybook planters from vintage luggage. That old suitcase in the attic, its leather worn, corners scuffed, maybe a faded travel sticker still clinging to the side, has taken its last trip across the country. But it's just right for a new journey into your garden. Choose a hard-sided suitcase that still opens and closes well. Drill a few drainage holes if the base allows, or line the bottom with gravel and landscape fabric. Then fill it with potting soil and plant trailing flowers like petunias, verbena, or even leafy herbs for a soft storybook look. You can also place small pots inside the case for easier maintenance and seasonal swaps. Set it on a garden bench, an old stool, or a raised shelf. No crouching required. Every time you walk past, it'll feel like opening a memory. For a personal touch, tie a luggage tag to the handle with a note like, "From travel to tranquility." The suitcase may no longer carry clothes, but it now carries life, charm, and a quiet message. You don't need to go far to find beauty. Sometimes it's already waiting at your feet. Part 3. The joy of the unexpected, where the most unlikely items become the heart of your garden. Sometimes the most magical transformations come from the most surprising places. A teapot, a colander, even a cork. In this part, we'll celebrate the joy of turning everyday household odds and ends into gentle garden wonders that ask little from the body, but give beauty in return. 11. Pouring beauty, hanging teapots as whimsical planters. Tucked in the back of your cupboard, there might be an old teapot, chipped, lidless, perhaps once part of cozy morning rituals. Don't hide it away. That graceful curve still has something to offer. This time, not pouring tea, but spilling beauty. Clean it gently, and if the spout doesn't already drain, drill a small hole in the base. Add a bit of gravel or moss for drainage, then a scoop of soil. Plant something small and charming. Trailing thyme, pansies, or compact succulents work perfectly. Hang your teapot from a porch rafter, a shepherd's hook, or a tree branch using macrame, ribbon, or even a piece of sturdy twine. Group a few at varying heights for a floating tea garden effect. The best part? Everything is done at eye level. No kneeling, no digging, just a gentle transformation. A teapot once filled with warmth now pours quiet joy into your outdoor space. It's proof that even everyday comforts can bloom again in unexpected ways. 12. Bottles of light, crafting garden borders from wine bottles. You've probably saved a few wine bottles, maybe from birthdays, quiet evenings, or family dinners. Their rich green, amber, or cobalt glass once marked a moment shared. Now they can line your garden path with color and memory. Start by soaking off the labels and rinsing each bottle clean. Dig a shallow trench along the edge of a flower bed or patio and place the bottles upside down, necks buried, bases peeking just above the soil. Space them closely for a flowing, gem-like effect. As the sunlight moves through your garden, the glass will catch and reflect the light, glimmering softly in the morning and glowing like stained glass at dusk. There's no weeding, no trimming, just lasting color and charm. This gentle edging is safe underfoot, kind to tools, and perfect for anyone wanting a beautiful border without heavy lifting. And best of all, every bottle holds a memory, and now a place in your garden's story. From celebration to sanctuary, still shining, just in a quieter way. 13. The colander cascade, turning kitchen tools into hanging garden charm. That old metal colander you once used for draining pasta or rinsing strawberries? It's perfectly designed for a second life, one that sways in the breeze and blooms from every hole. Start by giving it a gentle clean. If you'd like, spray it in a cheerful outdoor hue, sunflower yellow, robin's egg blue, or soft mint green. The built-in holes are ready-made for drainage, and the handles make hanging easy. Line the inside with coconut coir, moss, or landscape fabric. Add a well-draining potting mix and plant trailing flowers like lobelia, petunias, or creeping jenny. Their vines will thread through the holes like ribbons, draping down in soft green waves. Hang the colander from a tree branch, a porch beam, or a shepherd's hook using rope, chains, or even repurposed belts. Keep it at eye level so it's easy to tend. No bending, no strain. This is more than a planter. It's a small celebration of simplicity, something once used to feed your body, now feeding your spirit through beauty and bloom. 14. A line of memories, crafting soft garden edges from wine corks. Each cork in your kitchen drawer holds a tiny story, an anniversary toast, a holiday meal, a quiet evening shared. What if, instead of tossing them, you gave them a place to belong, a place right at your feet? Wine corks make lovely, gentle garden borders. They're soft underfoot, friendly to tools, and whisper memories into the soil. Start collecting. Real cork works best, but synthetic ones can do in a pinch. You'll need quite a few, so ask friends or save gradually. To build your border, dig a shallow trench along a garden bed. Press each cork into the soil vertically, flat end up, side by side, like a line of tiny sentinels. Their rounded tops create a natural, bumpy flow that curves beautifully with your plants. No heavy lifting, no complicated tools, just simple arranging. And as the corks weather, they blend gently into the earth, still useful, still soft, still telling stories. In the garden, even the smallest things can leave the most heartfelt mark. 15. Rustic revival, stacking wooden crates into garden shelves. Once used to carry milk bottles or fresh produce, wooden crates were built to be strong, simple, and useful. And now, in your garden, they can be just that again, only this time with flowers instead of fruit. Lightly sand down any rough edges, keeping the time-worn charm intact. You can leave them natural for a rustic look or paint them in calming garden hues, sage green, dusty lavender, or clean white. Then stack them along a wall or fence to create a vertical garden display that's as beautiful as it is practical. Fill each crate with potted plants, herbs, succulents, strawberries, or trailing flowers. Use the top crates for cascading plants and the lower ones for compact greenery. Add hooks to the sides to hang gloves, tools, or string lights for a cozy touch. Because everything sits at waist or table height, there's no bending or crouching, just easy access and pure visual delight. With each bloom, the crates remind us, just like them, we can carry something new, something beautiful, even after years of service. Part 4. Theme corners and memory nooks. Where every garden corner tells a personal story. Your garden doesn't need to be grand to feel meaningful. Sometimes a single corner, a memory bench, a poetic post, a playful mailbox, can hold more heart than a whole field. In this part, we'll create gentle, themed spaces that reflect who you are, what you've loved, and how you continue to grow. 16. The memory bench, surrounding your seat with stories in bloom. Picture this, a quiet bench beneath dappled sunlight, surrounded by potted plants, each one holding a memory. A rose that bloomed the year your grandchild was born. Lavender planted after a healing season. A pot of basil you've tended for years. This isn't just seating, it's a living scrapbook. Place a sturdy wooden or metal bench in a peaceful spot, by the garden path, near a tree, or in view of your favorite flowers. Surround it with planters that each represent a life chapter or person you cherish. Add hand-painted plant markers or little stones with dates or names. You don't need to bend or dig, just place, tend, and remember. Sit here with tea, with thought, or with silence. Let the plants grow while your heart rests. The memory bench becomes a sacred pause in your garden. A space not just for sitting but for feeling. Rooted in beauty, layered with love, always gently growing forward. 17. The poetry pole, planting words among the blooms. Every garden holds unspoken thoughts, memories, hopes, quiet truths. Why not give them a place to live out loud? A poetry pole is a simple, beautiful way to let your inner world grow right alongside your plants. Start with an old wooden post or even a sturdy branch. Sand it gently, then paint it in calming tones: moss green, sky blue, or soft cream. Use weatherproof markers or wood-burn plaques to add your favorite lines of poetry, personal affirmations, or quotes that make your spirit bloom. Place the pole where it can catch the morning light, perhaps near your herb bed or beside the path to your favorite chair. You can also clip seed packets, wind chimes, or small decorations to it, letting it evolve with the seasons. It asks for no effort from your body, only a little intention from your heart. And each time you pass it, those quiet words will greet you again. Gentle reminders, rooted in soil and soul, speaking softly in the language only your garden understands. 18. The garden mailbox, a place for notes, seeds, and serendipity. Remember the joy of opening a mailbox and finding something unexpected inside? With a little imagination, that feeling can bloom right in your backyard. Find an old mailbox, metal, wooden, or even vintage tin, and give it a fresh coat of paint that suits your garden's mood. Soft lilac, weathered teal, or classic cottage white all work beautifully. Mount it on a fence post, railing, or stake it into a flower bed where it's easy to reach. Inside, tuck away seed packets, a pair of garden gloves, or handwritten notes to yourself. You can even leave tiny surprises for visiting grandkids or neighbors, like a pressed flower or a quote on a slip of paper. Outside, decorate with small vines or wrap it in twine for texture. It's a mailbox that doesn't deliver bills, but delivers delight. No bending, no digging, just open, smile, and be reminded that magic often comes in the smallest envelopes. Your garden, after all, is full of messages, and this is where they wait. 19. The drying frame, a vintage picture frame for hanging herbs and memories. That old wooden picture frame, long emptied of photos, can now cradle something just as nourishing: fresh herbs and meaningful moments. It's more than decoration. It's a drying station that lets nature and nostalgia meet. Start with a large, sturdy frame, no glass needed. Stretch chicken wire or jute twine across the back and secure it tightly. Hang the frame on a shaded patio wall or lean it gently against a garden bench. Then, using clothespins or garden clips, attach small bundles of herbs: rosemary, lavender, mint, or thyme. As they dry, their scent fills the air, and their soft leaves remind you of the meals they've flavored, the teas they've soothed, the stories they hold. It's all within easy reach. No stooping or strain, just a graceful gesture. You're not just preserving plants, you're creating a gallery of everyday goodness. Each clipped herb becomes a brushstroke in your garden's art, one painted not with color, but with care and time. A simple frame, now holding more than any photo ever could. 20. The walking stick row. Plant markers with wisdom and whimsy. Tucked in a corner of the garage or beside the back door, you might find an old walking stick or cane, one that carried someone you love through years of steady steps. In the garden, it can walk again, this time guiding your plants instead of your feet. Plant old canes, hiking sticks, or carved wooden staffs into raised beds or large containers. Use them as tall, upright plant markers or gentle trellises for climbing beans and sweet peas. Hang small signs from the handles or carve names, planting dates or blessings into the wood itself. They're beautiful at standing height, easy to see, easy to love. No bending or lifting required, just soft placement and a sense of presence. As the plants grow, the sticks will seem to stand watch, quiet guardians of the garden's slow, steady rhythm. Each one holds a little history, now repurposed to support new life. A reminder that we may lean for a time, but we also uplift, still standing, still useful, still part of something growing. Part 5, Closing Reflections and Gentle Goodbyes, where old things and old stories find their bloom again. As we near the end of our garden walk, this final part is a quiet pause, a moment to look back at all the gentle transformations we've made, where everyday objects became vessels of joy and where your hands turned memories into meaning. Let's wrap it up together. 21. From notes to blooms, making music with retired instruments. That old guitar missing strings or a trumpet once played with heart, it may no longer echo through halls, but in your garden it can still sing. Only now, its music comes in the form of petals, leaves, and sunlight. Carefully hollow out a wooden instrument like a guitar or violin, line it with landscape fabric, and fill it with soil. Tuck in trailing plants like ivy or petunias so they spill from the sound hole, turning music into movement. For brass instruments like a trumpet or French horn, place the bell upright and fill it with cheerful blooms, calibrachoa, pansies, or cascading lobelia. These pieces rest easily on tables, benches, or nestled among flower beds. No need to bend, just admire and water with care. For a magical touch, add a small solar light inside to let it glow at night, like a lullaby still playing. Instruments may grow quiet with time, but in your garden, they still carry emotion, still expressive, still full of presence. Only now they speak in flowers instead of notes. 22. A teacup garden party. Tiny planters with timeless charm. Hidden in your kitchen cabinet might be a delicate teacup, chipped, mismatched, or missing its saucer. It may no longer be part of your morning routine, but it still has a gift to offer. That little cup can cradle something just as comforting: life. Choose one or more teacups, ceramic or enamel, and give them a gentle rinse. If the bottom doesn't already have drainage, add a few pebbles or a sprinkle of charcoal before filling with soil. Then, plant a miniature succulent, pansy, or sprig of thyme, anything compact and charming. Arrange your teacup planters on a windowsill, patio shelf, or hang them with macrame or ribbon from a porch beam. You can even group several at different heights to create a floating tea party of greenery. No digging, no bending, just sweet simplicity at eye level. These tiny treasures become symbols of warmth repurposed, of old rituals reimagined. Each one pours beauty instead of tea, reminding us that comfort can always bloom in new ways, even from something small and once forgotten. 23. Window frames to the sky, creating open-air garden dividers. That old wooden window frame, paint flaking, glass long gone, still knows how to hold space. Once a view to the outside world, it can now frame beauty from within your garden. Clean the frame gently, leaving its weathered look or adding a coat of paint in soft garden shades, robin's egg blue, moss green, or creamy white. Attach it to 2 wooden stakes or garden posts using outdoor brackets and place it anywhere you'd like to define a space: the entrance to your garden, beside a reading chair, or between flower beds. Let vines climb through the empty panes, or hang mason jar lanterns, small planters, or seasonal decorations from the crossbars. A strand of fairy lights across the top can add gentle magic to evening hours. It's light, simple, and kind to your body. No bending, no strain. Just a thoughtful placement that turns air into architecture. The frame may no longer shield from storms, but it now welcomes sunlight, birdsong, and stillness, offering a new kind of clarity, framed with grace. 24. Light that lingers. Garden mirrors as portals of peace. Even if a mirror's glass is speckled or its frame chipped, its purpose remains: to reflect, to expand, to reveal what's already shining. And in the garden, that magic only grows stronger. Select a sturdy mirror with personality: wooden, metal, ornate, or simple. Clean it gently, and if you like, paint the frame in a soft hue that suits your outdoor space. Then, mount it at eye level on a fence, shed wall, or post near your favorite seating spot. The mirror doesn't just reflect your garden, it deepens it. It catches the light from petals you've planted, reflects greenery into forgotten corners, and opens up small spaces to feel wide and full. Best of all, it asks nothing from you but presence. No soil, no tools, no labor, just beauty made visible. And when you see your plants, your efforts twice through that mirror's gaze, you'll remember, what you've made here is more than a garden. It's a sanctuary that reflects your care, your journey, and your light. 25. A garden farewell, the beauty of broken things reimagined. Maybe it's a vase with a chipped rim, a cracked bowl, or a ceramic jug that once graced your dining table. Too damaged to hold water, too precious to throw away. And in your garden, it finds its final, most meaningful role. Place the broken vessel on its side in a garden bed or among stones. Let small succulents, mosses, or creeping thyme spill out of it, as if the earth itself is pouring forth life. You don't have to bury it, just nestle it gently, like a relic returned to the wild. If the container is intact enough, use it as a mini bird bath, a bee watering station, or a fairy garden. Add smooth pebbles, fresh water, or a handful of soil and seed. Watch as birds sip, bees pause, or blooms peek out from a once-forgotten edge. It's not just a planter, it's a reminder. We don't lose value when we're chipped. We gain soul, we gather story. And like these vessels, we continue to hold beauty, just in a gentler, more grounded way. Where old things bloom again, And so do we. As our walk through these 25 garden wonders comes to a close, take a breath. Look around, not just at your plants, but at the quiet joy now tucked into every corner. A chandelier that dances with flowers. A teapot that pours beauty instead of tea. A mirror that reflects not just light, but your love and care. You didn't need new supplies. You didn't need heavy tools or aching knees. What you needed, what you've always had, was vision, heart, the gift of seeing life not just in soil, but in second chances. Because every worn-out thing you touched, the bottle, the bench, the broken frame, wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of something softer, wiser, and even more beautiful. Just like you. So the next time someone walks through your garden and asks, "Where did you buy that?" you can smile and say, "I didn't buy it, I remembered it. I loved it again." Thank you for spending this gentle time with me. If today's ideas brought you peace, purpose, or a spark of creativity, please subscribe to Earthly Delights. There's always more magic waiting, right where you are.